Good morning, this is your Math Sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is going to be finding slope from 2 points using a graph and using the formula in Desmos. So first off, the warm-up. Um, it says graph the ordered pair 2, -5, and label it J. So 2, +2, and -5. That's right there. And we're labeling it J. Then it says graph the ordered pair -4, +7. Label it K. Connect the points to form a line. I don't have a very good straight edge, but we'll try to make this work. All right, so hopefully that's a pretty good line. It says find the slope. Well, at this point, we know how to count the slope out. So I'm going to count from K to J. It really wouldn't matter. I could go from J to K. Maybe I should just do JK. So we'll go from J to K. So if I'm going up is a positive direction. So we know the change in Y is a positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I went up 12. So we went up a positive 12. Then we go to the left, which is a negative. So that means the X direction is negative, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we end up with 12 over -6. Now we can do this in Desmos, but I'm going to use a calculator just to speed the video up. And if I go 12 divided by -6, I end up getting -2. So my slope is -2, but I also like to be able to write that as a fraction, so that would be -2 over 1. Both of those are correct. When we're writing the equation, it looks like this. When we're graphing it, it'll look like this. And here's what I mean. I could put a point right here because it crosses the axis perfectly. And if I go up here, 1, 2, this is 1, and then this is 1, 2, we see that it's going up 2 over 1. 1, 2 over 1. 1, 2 over 1. All right. Once again, up 1, 2, and over 1. Up 1, 2, and over 1. So that's how it reduces to 2 over 1. And anytime you have a downward slope, it is negative. So this is a negative slope. All right, the next one says graph the ordered pair 5, 3, and label it A. So +5, +3, labeling that A. And then it says go to -5, -2, and label that B. So here's B. It says connect the points to form a line. And I end up with a line about like that. And then it says find the slope. Well, once again, we're just going to count it out. And I'm going to go from A to B. And by the way, because this is going up, I know this is a positive slope because it's going up. So going from A to B, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down is a negative direction, so I went down a -5. And then I go to the left, which is also a negative direction, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we said that that was a negative direction because we went left. So we have -5 over -10. Well, negative and a negative is a positive, but we don't have to worry about it. We just plug in a calculator, -5 divided by -10, and we get 0.5. Now that doesn't help me out because it's a decimal and I need it as a fraction. So I press math, the math button, which is right here, and I just press enter twice. And I find out, oh, that reduces to a +1/2. And if we went this way, we went up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and we keep hitting the line. Every time we go up 1 and over 2, we hit the line. So the slope of the line is 1/2. All right, we're going to do the same problem that we did the very first problem in the warm-up with 2, -5, and -4, 7, but we're going to go ahead and use the formula. All right, it says write the slope formula. Well, it's written for us, so I'm not going to copy it again, but I am going to label the ordered pairs. All right, so I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2. Please remember with this formula, we need to, um, and you can use it either way. I usually just go with this one because this is the first one. So I'll put this first and I'll put this second. That's just what I do. You can swap the order. It doesn't matter. As long as they stay on the y1 is above the x1 and the y2 is above the x2, you're fine. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use this version of that formula and make sure you substitute using parentheses. So if I have y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2, and I'm going to substitute using parentheses, that means I'm going to have -5. I'm going to draw my fraction line, -5 in parentheses over +2 minus, in parentheses, I have to have y2, which is 7. I have a minus sign, and I plug in a -4. All right, so I'm going to switch over to Desmos because this is what I want it to look like in Desmos. Because there's some limitations. All right, so we need to calculate the numerator, and we can calculate the top number first or the bottom number first. So the numerator first or the denominator, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and do the denominator first. So I have parenthesis 2, close parenthesis, minus parenthesis, -4, close parenthesis, and I get 6. So 6 is going in the denominator. Then I go up to the numerator, and I have parenthesis, -5, close parenthesis, minus parenthesis 7, and close those parentheses, and I get -12. So now I have -12 over 6, and if I look back at my paper, I'm just going to flash back real quickly, or I thought I was. So all I did was go record that -12 over 6 because that's what we got from Desmos. And then once I have that, I'm going to go back to Desmos and look one more time at this. And I'm going to go, well, we're going to do one more thing. We still don't have our answer. And what we need is -12 divided by 6. And we get -2. Now, if we'd asked it for a fraction, it would give us one, but we don't need a fraction there, so we end up getting -2 as our answer. So this equals -2, or as a fraction, -2 over 1. All right, next page. So first off, I want to talk to you about the angry man before we go back into working problems. If we have a downward slope, that means it's negative. If we have an upward slope, that means it's positive. If we have a vertical line, it's undefined. If we have a horizontal line, the slope is 0, which is why we have zeros, and there's zeros in the word horizontal. So once again, negative slope slopes down and to the left, which is what we have here. Positive slope slopes up and to the right. Undefined is a vertical line that you use to remind you it's undefined. And the slope of 0 is horizontal. Horizontal has 2 zeros, and the slope is 0, and it looks like that. All right, so that's the way Angry Man works. It really does help to remind yourself what the slopes are. So here's our formula once again. And it says, given the points -4, -3, and 2, -1, find the slope using the formula. So once again, I'm going to label these x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm going to use this formula right here. So I have y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. We substitute using parentheses. So I'm going to have -3 over -4. All I did was just take these two numbers and flip them. We always have, this will always be a minus sign every single time, and then I need parentheses again. So this becomes -1 over 2. All right, we're going to flip over to Desmos, and we're going to work it the same way we worked the last one. All right, so for the denominator, we're going to need -4 and then a minus parenthesis 2, and we end up getting -6. So in the denominator, we have -6. For this, we have -3. Don't forget we have a minus sign, and then we have a -1. Let me get the lights back on in here. And that ends up giving me a -2. So now we have -2 over -6, and we're going to put it into Desmos. Continue. So -2 for our change in y divided by -6. And we get 33333. I don't like that answer. I don't like decimals. We're going to go to the left and select the little circle, and it turns it into a fraction. We end up getting the fraction equal to 1/3. So in this case, our slope is 1/3. So let's go back and look at the paper real quickly so I can talk about it. All right. So we first off, we put -3, this -3 over this -4. That's what went right here. We put this -1 over this 2, and we always put those numbers in parentheses. All right. When I did that, -3 minus a -1 gave me -2. -4 minus 2 gave me -6. That's -2 over -6, which equals 1/3. So my slope is 1/3. All right. The next problem, we're still going to use the same formula, y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2, and this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Now I'm just going to do something a little bit different so it helps stick in your mind. We always have this minus sign. We'll always put parentheses in these places, just like this. So this is what we're going to have. And I'm going to put the y on top, so 5 over -2. And then I'm going to put this -5 here, and it's going over the 3. All right, so that's what we're going to plug into Desmos. As soon as I share it. And so plugging into those parentheses, I'm going to clear those numbers out and do that for this one. Oops. Maybe it makes more sense to do the y's first because the y's are on top. So we have 5, and then we have -5. And for the denominator, we have -2, and we have 3. This is for our x's. And remember, it's y's over the x's. So we have 10 over -5. So 10 divided by -5. And we end up getting -2. So this ended up equaling 10 over -5 and it reduced to -2, so our slope is -2. Or as a fraction, which I like it as a fraction, is -2/1. All right. And the reason I like it as a fraction is because it's easier to graph this way. It's easier to graph as a fraction. Finally, we have this last one, and it's -4, 3, and 4, -3. Once again, this is my x, this is my y, this is my x, this is my y. And we have y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2 minus minus parenthesis, 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 parenthesis. All right. So the y's go, gosh, I forgot to put the ones and the twos. So this should be 3 over -4. And this is -3 over 4. All right. So we're going to head back to Desmos here. We're going to get rid of this one. Then I'm going to clear those numbers out. Let this top one be our y's. And the bottom will be our x's. So in this first set of parentheses, 3. And right here, we're going to put in -3. Here, we're going to put in -4. And here is 4. Oops. So looking at this top box, we end up getting 6. So our change in y equals 6. And the change in the x's equals -8. So we end up with 6 divided by -8. So we're going to go 6 slash -8. That's our slope. And we get 0.75, or -0.75. Well, we want a fraction, so we'll go over to the left and click on it, and we end up getting -3/4. So our fraction reduces to m equals -3/4, and that will be our slope. So here we go. 3 minus a -3 gave me 6. -4 minus 4 gave me -8. And when I reduced that, I ended up getting -3/4. So my slope is -3/4. I hope this helped. Please use the Angry Man. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.